defection, 6 IU's removal, and single term for Atiku. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Dari Odufowokon. Welcome to the program, gentlemen.
Thank you for
Mr. Dari,
us.
welcome to the program. Good evening to you too. All right, Journalist Hangout starts now. Thank you for staying with us. For some time now, festering insecurity has put Benue State, north-central Nigeria, in a desperate situation, and the governor is adopting desperate measures to ensure lasting peace. In one of such measures, the state government has restricted activities of commercial motorcyclists, popularly known as Okada riders, from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. across the state. According to Governor Samuel Autumn, the steps are as a result of the alarm raised by his Nasarawa state counterpart, Abdullahi Sude, about movements of suspected bandits fleeing Kaduna, Zamfara, and Kebbi to his state. Governor Autumn has also inaugurated Batch 1 of the Benue State Community Volunteer Guards to tackle insecurity in the state. At the passing out parade for the volunteer guards in Makurdi, the governor vowed to tackle insecurity vehemently to keep his people safe. Let's share the story by TVC News' Mayowa Okwato with you. All right, then, let's start our discussion while we wait for that package. Because the CVG guards are here, and the governor said they will be armed with legal weapons to assist other security agencies. How well do you think this can help?
Yes, I think that anyone who has been monitoring the progress of Amotekun in the southwest, especially Ondo and Osun states, will see the value of having an home-sourced security outfit. You can't keep waiting for federal security agencies to assist you. Your own people understand the terrain better. They know their communities inside out, and the information that the federal police may not have, or troops, soldiers, whether they are special forces or whatever you call them, may not have about your state. The people in your state that you have recruited, that you have groomed, will have such information in abundance. Look at the success that we have recorded with the civilian JTF in Benue State. No one can argue that the civilian JTF has not been a success, and they have paid with their lives. More than 1,000 of them have been killed. But they understand Benue State more than anyone. In fact, the activities of civilian JTF chased Boko Haram out of Maiduguri metropolis. They were not living in Sambisa before. Their activities, because they were going to their houses and fishing them out, those boys took to their heels and began to hide in Sambisa. That's how they are. In the past, if you were inside a taxi in Benue State and you abused Boko Haram, you will be shocked that they'll just come to your house and simply pick you up. Because they were living with the people. I remember those who were building, I think, an extension to the palace of the El Kanemi. They came in the night and slaughtered them. Such killings within Maiduguri metropolis were common. Remember also when there was, I think during Jonathan era, when there was a town hall meeting and some women and other people spoke at that meeting. As soon as the meeting ended, they went to kill those people for merely expressing their opinion. That was the era when Boko Haram lived with people inside Maiduguri metropolis. But civilian JTF flushed them out of the metropolis. So, because of superior knowledge, such superior knowledge will help these volunteers in Benue State, because I know that they know everywhere, they know the nooks and crannies of the state, and the knowledge that they have will be very helpful. But what I want to see, just as is happening with Amotekun in Ondo State, is for these people to work in tandem with the security agencies. For example, Amotekun does not have the power of, does not have prosecutorial powers, but they can hand over people that they have apprehended to the police, who will then do the job of making sure that they are taken before a court of law. If they can work together like that, honestly, our society, our communities will be a lot safer.
All right, Dari, before I come to you, please, let's quickly see the inauguration of the volunteer guards.
It is in response to this failure of the federal government that the responsible state government have been forced to step up to complement the efforts of the official security of our state. As a state government, this is one expensive investment that we have preferred to avoid if it was not forced upon us by the perpetual siege that has mounted on our land.
All right, Dara, juxtaposing what we have, the Amotekun situation we have in the southwest with what we have with CVG, many analysts have said this is, state police gradually being enthroned. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think finally we are finding a way around the issue of state police. Rather than waste time arguing back and forth
waiting
with the
for
federal
the
government
intervention,
or waiting for restructuring
Constitutional amendments.
Constitutional amendment restructuring to hand us state police. If we can find a way around it, I think it will hasten the race. So it may not be exactly what we want, but what you are seeing happening in Benue is a confirmation that whenever the governors or wherever they are willing, they can actually do something. We have seen Amotekun in the southwest. And when we say southwest, I want to say we have seen Amotekun in Ondo, Osun, maybe
even Ogun now.
Ogun is coming up with. You see, it is not just to launch it. It is to actually put it. This, like VKO explained, the local security outfits like this will go a long way in securing the people better because they know the terrain. One, they know the people. Crimes are not committed by spirits. They are committed by human beings. In most cases, even when criminals come from the outside to commit crime in a locality, it is always with the connivance of one or two locals. Talking about kidnapping, I can tell you from experience that local POS operators in some communities aid kidnappers. If you have a local security outfit or volunteers of this type, they know the people, they know the terrain. And Governor Otto has just followed in the footsteps of other governors like Akeredolu of Ondo. And I think Akeredolu is one governor that is putting Amotekun to good use.
Oh, seriously.
And we are seeing the dividends.
Of course.
You know why we are saying, some people are saying one of the results is the attacks on Owo. And I will say no. We are seeing Owo because the local network is actually working. There have been many attacks in parts of this country in similar fold that we did not get to really hear of.
I agree with you.
So, where you have the governor taking the destiny of his people in his arm in this manner, whatever name it is given, you see, when it was Amotekun, there were a lot of debates about name. It should be this. There were a lot of debates about whether it should carry arms or not. You can see that we are not having that because gradually we are coming to see that let us have the formations first. How they will operate, what they will use, who they will liaise with, will be secondary. We will sort all that. In Kano, there are local security outfits, and they are doing well. In Kaduna, a few are springing up, with government realizing that, look, we can work with these people, with the police. It will only help the police. Like VKO actually said, two, the need for them to work hand in hand with other security agencies, especially government security agencies like the police, the army, and what have you, is key. We can prevent abuse where they know the limit. They know where they start, they know where they stop. If you apprehend people, hand them over to the police, and then the police should help them. If they keep handing over people to you, and you keep releasing them, they will get tired though. So the police should also help them by ensuring that when they use their sweat and blood to go after criminals, you don't do a shoddy job of prosecuting those criminals and they are back in the, on the streets. If we avoid all this, I want to say Governor Autumn is following in the right footsteps.
All right, well said, gentlemen. Now let's move on. Wanton killings of innocent citizens is becoming some sort of pastime in Nigeria. In Oyo State, a hotelier in Ogbomoso, Olubenga Owolabi, and the students of Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, LAUTECH, also in Ogbomoso, Rachel Okpadele, who were adopted last week, have been killed by their abductors, despite payment of 5 million naira ransom. The motorcycle rider who conveyed a family member to the designated area for ransom payment was also killed, while his passenger was injured. In Akwa Ibom, Justice Basi Unanga of the State High Court sentenced Uduak Akpan to death by hanging for the murder of Inuobong Umare, a graduate of philosophy at the University of Uyo in April 2021. In the more than 2 hours judgment, the judge said the prosecution proved beyond doubt the case of rape and murder against Akpan. After the judge read out the judgment, the convicted rapist attempted to escape from the courtroom, but was overpowered by security officials. Let's share the video of the attempted escape with you.
Take your camera. My friend, will you get up from my face? Will you get up from my face? Will you stop that nonsense? Hold
All right, gentlemen, we have two sad stories there. First is the hotelier and the LAUTECH students who have both been killed despite payment of ransom. This is becoming a trend gradually.
Yes. You see, when you get kidnapped, the reason you have to do your best to not get kidnapped is sometimes even when you pay ransom, they still take your life. There was this man in Kogi State, a businessman, who was kidnapped while traveling somewhere around Mopa. He was taken into the forest. They got ransom from his relations, and after that, his relations were told to go and pick up his corpse somewhere in the forest. By the time they got there, the body had decomposed rapidly. You can imagine the agony when people, they told you, okay, his corpse is, go and pick up your guy somewhere. After you paid ransom, you are expecting to see him alive and well. But it was the remains that the guy saw. So it's common for this sort of thing to happen. There was another incident, a woman, I think the woman she didn't have access to appeals, and then he died. The next thing, they just came, dropped her corpse in an hospital and phoned her relations to go there and pick up her remains. There are so many examples of that. Some of the people that they kidnap are people who must use their drugs every time. That is, someone related to a friend of mine who was permanently on drugs to manage his diabetes, his ailment, diabetes. Once he was kidnapped, my friend raised the alarm that if we can't get this guy out within 3 days, he could be dead. By the third day, when they finally arranged to give ransom, because they had to look for money, they saw, just after they left the forest, that they had dropped his remains by the side of the road. So these things happen. It just takes being unlucky for this sort of thing to happen. Like this boy now, who was deceiving people that he was going to give them jobs and all that, and then a beautiful girl came, you then had carnal knowledge of her. And he felt that, look, this girl will eventually implicate me. The next thing, he took her life and started lying. You confessed to journalists that you killed her, only to come and say, oh, it was because I did it in self-defense. They seem to think that a judge will believe any stupid story that they tell the judge. No? So it's just unfortunate that these things happen. We have to defeat insecurity in our country. We have to defeat this kidnapping for ransom because it keeps taking victims. On the north, on the south, every part of our country, kidnapping has become the most dominant piece of business, and lives are being taken as a result. So that's the more reason that government has to come up with the right approach to defeat this serious scourge.
Larry, involved in this case is a student who is supposed to be in school, but maybe decided to go and work, so she does not just have to sit at home doing nothing. How much more of this do we have to deal with?
Well, you see, either a student, a trader, or whatever, anybody who is a victim of this kind of thing is a sad story. And I sympathize with the parents of that girl. One cannot say she's a victim of the ongoing strike, because what will be, will be. I'm a believer in that. However, the problem is the fact that we still have a situation where people will kidnap, demand ransom, and kill. It's a huge one. And in most cases, when you have people being kidnapped by criminals who probably fear that they are known to the victims.
Most times.
When you have such a situation, the most possible outcome is death. Because if the kidnapper realizes, oh, one of these people know me, he won't let any one of them go. It's just like you running into a thief who is armed while he's carrying out his business. He will let you go if he realizes that you'll be able to identify him in public, and you may probably give him away. So it's unfortunate. Then one of them is somebody who, from what I read, is based abroad, decided to come and establish business here, and now, just for 5 million, his life has been taken. A lot of people are employed in that hotel. They will soon become jobless. And then, these are some of the effects of what these criminalities going all around us are having on our country. And we just need to defeat it. The earlier we defeat all these criminalities, the better for all of us. Lives are being lost. Businesses are being crippled. Nigerians in diaspora are daily being told to stay where they are.
Yes.
And this, our country needs help. Yet, our own nationals abroad, by our acts, by the actions of these criminals, we are telling them, stay where you are. How will investors now come? These are the effects of all these problems, and they are huge. That's the truth. They are huge.
All right, gentlemen. Now, one of the reasons for this judgment is deterrence. How long can this go in deterring others from crime like this?
We can truly discourage from committing some of these crimes when our governors shed their toga of cowardice. A lot of the governors that make all the noise, we see them, they can say all kinds of things. They can't sign a death warrant. The judge has done his job, but to sign the warrant, they can't. So you see that clearly in terms of courage, they don't have it. I've told the story before of George Walker Bush, former US president. He was governor of Texas. And a woman who had murdered the boyfriend with an ice pick stabbed the boyfriend more than a dozen times with an ice pick. Sentenced to death. The death warrant came to George W. Bush. Before then, the woman became born again in prison, and Pope John Paul II was alerted to her activities in prison. So across the world, there was pressure that they should not kill her since she had become a changed man. And here was George W. Bush, governor of Texas. They brought the death warrant to him to sign. Despite the pressure, the global pressure from even the Pope, George W. Bush signed. And I remember those famous words that he said, "May the Lord have mercy on her soul." That was where it ended. They took her life. I want people to sign. We have a lot of people who had been sentenced to death. They are languishing in prisons.
Taking space.
Let them go and face another judgment with their maker so that we can create space for a lot of these other criminals. So what is the thing? You've got, so what, ultimately, if you will not take their lives after they have been sentenced to death, where is the deterrence? If we want to say, okay, we are cancelling death penalty, we become like South Africa, that the worst punishment is death, life imprisonment. Let's do it. But if we still have it in our statute books, for God's sake, let these guys face the full weight of the law. I'm happy the governor of Kano State said he will sign the death warrant for that school proprietor with alacrity. I hope that the old man will live up to his promise. I'm really, really waiting because we just have to begin to sign this warrant. I think it was Oshomole that was said to have done it the last time. Yeah. Others will find one reason to not sign. I don't get it.
All right, Darren, quickly before we...
Yeah, we have discussed this before, and I remember, was it BK or someone else here, saying maybe we should, as part of the campaign promises of governors, we should ask the question directly. If someone is convicted in your state, will you sign the death warrant? And we should only vote for people who will be courageous enough. Because aside from serving as deterrent, really, it will also help to reduce congestion. Our prisons are congested, and majority of them are people who are on death row. Many of them are on death row. They've been condemned. These are the kind of people that criminals storm prisons to free. If they have stayed there 5 years, 10 years, they still have hope.
Of course. Look at even during the SARS riot, one of the guys who was sentenced to death, remember what he did? I think Delta State. Yeah. He went straight to go and kill the person who testified against
after escaping from prison.
Yes.
You see? So if they still have hope after getting the sentence, then what's the use? Wasting state resources to sentence them, only to further waste state resources to feed them for the rest of their life.
All right, gentlemen, we will definitely continue this discussion right after this break.
Every week, Green Angle, in partnership with Wild Aid, will bring you a documentary series on environmental issues affecting Nigeria's amazing biodiversity, from climate change, air pollution, and wildlife conservation. We will be traveling across Nigeria to give you on-the-ground report of the issues affecting our environment. It airs every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
The National Assembly is a busy place. As the bastion of democracy, it is a place where bills are presented, motions debated, laws made, and the yearnings of the people are laid bare. Come with us as we take you through the workings of the National Assembly. We take you through plenary, committee meetings, and probes, all to ensure smooth working of the democratic process.
Information is power, information is security, information is knowledge. On Labor Lens, we believe that working people around the world have real questions of their own. They want to know how the world of work operates, what it means to the employer of labor, how policies affect workers in the workplace. On Labor Lens, I ensure we engage effectively the organized labor, organized private sector, and government to get out of them information workers are in need of. I am Sharon Ijason, asking questions that make you get sense of the workplace.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
All right, welcome back. It appears there is no reprieve for Nigerians regarding rising prices of commodities and essential services in the country. While wages have remained stagnant, cost of food is skyrocketing. While the roads and rail lines are no longer safe, airfares have slipped out of reach for citizens. In the face of rising cost of petrol, diesel, aviation fuel and gas, the price of kerosene, which is the alternative source of energy for most families in the country, has jumped to 800 naira per litre. According to market survey, 1 litre of kerosene, which was sold for 700 naira last week, now sells for between 800 and 850 naira in most parts of Lagos, while the price has hit as high as 1,000 naira per litre in the suburbs. Gentlemen, 12% increment is not a joke, Pikil. Darren. Because in February it was around 235 naira per litre. This is the first week of August, and this is 800 naira per litre, and in some places 1,000 naira per litre. Why do we have this persistent crisis in our energy sector? Sorry.
I didn't, how should I say, I was not aware of what was happening with kerosene until the recent outcry by users. I think that started for about 2 weeks now. People have been lamenting the rate at which the price is just going up, and the product is gradually getting out of reach of the common man. I wasn't aware because, you see, many Nigerians moved towards gas when it appeared that how it was affordable, both liquefied gas.
At the time, it was cheaper than kerosene.
At the time, it was far cheaper. So people forgot that all they needed to do was get the bonus. And kerosene was gradually going out of fashion. But suddenly, in about 2-3 months now, we've had reason to discuss kerosene again because gas went up. Because gas went totally out of reach of average Nigerians. If you still find families using gas today, they must be in some form of class. When we allow one problem to become too much on the people, we are creating another one. Do you know that while people moved to gas, there are some Nigerians who didn't move. They still could not afford it as cheap as it was. So they stayed with kerosene. Now what is happening with gas is affecting those using kerosene. So one problem in that sector will bring another. And all these are not being helped by what is happening to power itself, electricity. The absence of power will still force people to use gas and kerosene in more areas that electricity could have taken care of. All these are burdens on the people. And like you said, we've not heard of a salary increase. Wages are not going up. I saw one cartoon. Wages. They drew snail and named snail wages. They drew snail and called it salary. But a horse was named as a cost of living. That depicts Nigeria.
The reality.
That one is galloping. Cost of living is galloping. While salary and wages are just crawling. People are suffering as a result of all these things. And if you now add kerosene, be it scarcity or high cost of kerosene, to all this, I don't know where we are going from here.
Yes, I'm not surprised that kerosene has become this expensive. I was discussing with my researcher, and he said that, was it not the same kerosene that used to be 50 naira a liter? I said, oh, so you even met Nigeria at a time when we were buying kerosene at 50 naira a liter. That was when Nigeria was a country that people enjoyed living in. It's really a nightmarish experience to live in our country now, and I pity the poorest of the poor in our country, because the question now is, where do we even drive them to? There was a time when kerosene was way more expensive than gas. People resorted to using gas. Gas is clean, at least your pots won't be dirty when you use the kerosene. But today, gas has been priced out of the reach of the ordinary man, who now has to resort to charcoal. You see many homes now are resorting to charcoal, which is not good for the environment. It's terrible, but at the same time, when you look at, it's easy to, you ask the question, why do we have this level of energy crisis? When we refuse to fix our refineries. Even if the refineries will refine kerosene alone, honestly, it will go a long way. Kerosene, if aviation fuel is expensive, then you should expect that kerosene will be expensive, because, in fact, kerosene is actually a petroleum product that is very similar to aviation fuel. Many warplanes use a blend of kerosene, to fly. So it's very similar to aviation fuel in terms of the components and all that. So what comes together to make it, the chemical component. So if aviation fuel is a problem, then it shouldn't surprise you that we also can't access kerosene. Both of them are already deregulated, diesel deregulated, jet A1 deregulated. Is just PMS that we pay, that is subsidized. So whatever we're experiencing with diesel, we should expect that it will happen with kerosene. If diesel prices have gone up because of the naira value is sliding, you should expect that the same thing will affect kerosene. It's basically the same problem. A country that it has pleased God to bless it sufficiently with natural resources, and we are suffering in this manner. It should tell people the kind of leaders that we've had in our nation over the years. Leaders who can build refineries, and will watch leaders in other countries successfully build refineries. I mean, I don't understand. We are the only OPEC nation. The only OPEC nation that is importing petroleum products. And we are even importing petrol refined in some countries that do not have it. Some countries have refineries, they don't have they don't even have God has not blessed them with crude oil, but they have refineries. We go to such countries
To refine our crude.
to buy what has been refined. Why can't we have leaders with focus, with vision, who will say, okay, we are going to build 18 refineries, and 8 of the refineries will be for export. The remaining 10 will be for domestic consumption. That's what they've done in South Africa, Saudi Arabia. They are the world leader, and they want to maintain that leadership. They are doing it. Why is it? What is difficult in building refineries? Angola just delivered a new one through public-private initiative. Why is it? What is difficult in building refineries? And we are suffering because we refuse to. Now, the ones we have, we successfully mismanage the refineries we have, and they are not able to even produce a drop of refined petrol. There was a year, Kaduna Refinery only produced 50 million liters of petrol in a whole year. By their own admission, that 50 million liters is not even enough by the figures that they bandy about to take care of our consumption in one day. Why won't the ordinary man suffer? Well, of course, we'll suffer.
BK, is there any way out of all of this mess?
Not. Maybe what we are waiting for now is for Dangote to finish his refinery. 650 million liters a day. Dangote will give us, so which is more than our level of consumption.
Maybe we can export part of it.
That is what we are.
But if Dangote can
650,000 barrels a day. That's the
we can't
capacity.
finish that in a day.
Well, it's one of the biggest refineries in the world.
But if Dangote, an individual, could deliver a refinery in Nigeria, I want to repeat your question. What happened to the leadership that we have in the country?
If a state in the U.S.
can give
a state in the U.S. can have more than 20 refineries, just one American state,
and then they don't, they are not as blessed as we are when it comes to the issue of crude, but they see it as business, part of ways to increase their earnings, and they are running it as business. But the problem, like we said in Nigeria, is when choosing our leaders, we don't set our priorities right. Everybody wants to blame.
No, I think leaders will come. No, when leaders boast, I don't think that we can blame the people. Leaders come in, and if we go down memory lane, we don't even need to go far. They will boast, we are going to do this, we are going to do that. As soon as they get there, they go for the convenient. The convenient is to import instead of building new refineries or fixing the old ones. If you go back to campaigns about 2015, did you not hear some people boasting that they are going to fix
refinery in days?
That
if they don't fix refinery, we should not repeat voting for them in 2019. But we did.
Nigerians forget.
But we did. That's where I'm going. See, we repeated. We allowed them to repeat their classes. That is why.
I didn't hear them say they should not.
I had that very. In fact, it was.
But I had people boasting that they will fix refineries.
If you don't do it in treasury, don't listen to us again. Don't vote for us again. Another issue is that sometimes we can see some of these people who come to us. They have antecedents. What have they done before? That is why, as 2023 is coming, I'm more concerned.
But we have also seen people who came into office, who came into government with sterling quality achievements, but got there and became something else. You know, somebody who went into the Senate told us something. He said Nigeria is a buffet. And I've said that before, that if you want to know how greedy people are, go and attend a buffet. You will see people fill their plates with portions that they cannot fill half. You can't finish half of it. They will fill their plates.
Want to take it.
Gluttonous people, they will fill their plates. That is the attitude that many people in government have. They just want to fill their plates
and forget
the rest of us. Take care of their children. You know, be able to give the best to their children.
I still
and Nigeria suffers.
I still believe one way out of this is for we, the people, to vet our leaders better. Yes, they will come to us with lies. They will come with boasts. But somehow, let's still look at them and go for those who still look more. We'll be gambling anyway, like you said.
Dari, I've told you, there are people who come into office
on the strength of
their achievements
in the past,
and we made the right choices by voting for them.
And then they
get there and just become something different. This Nigerian system can turn an otherwise good individual to a devil.
All right.
So what do we do in this case? Just keep voting as they come?
No, you can vote for someone that you thought would do well. Yeah. It is for that person, so if he has honor. If he has honor.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
To go there and deliver. And remember that he should be accountable to the people. But if you vote for people and they feel that, look, you don't matter anymore.
Yeah, that's the problem.
People change. Are you going to tell me that you don't know that people change?
Of course, they do.
People, even around us, in the office where we work, we see people. Once they are elevated, they become pig-headed. You can't talk to them anymore. They become inaccessible. Yes. People in government, a lot of them that were accessible, once they get into that office, they surround themselves with people who will ensure that they chase away all those who can make a difference.
All right, gentlemen, we need to quickly move on from this issue.
We have another opportunity in 2023.
And I hope we get it right.
Ensure that we do it better.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's talk politics. No price can be too high to pay to achieve peace. But for the embittered governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, it appears he has set a tall order for his party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, as conditions for him and his group to be appeased. At a meeting in Abuja, it was reported that the Governor Wike camp insisted on removal of the PDP national chairman, Iyorchia Ayu. The group also wants the PDP presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, to sign an undertaking that he will spend only one term in office before they can pledge their support for him. Members of the team are also to be considered for appointment if the party wins the presidential election in 2023. But the PDP Board of Trustees has set up a committee to resolve the differences between Atiku and Governor Wike. Now let's share the story by TVC News senior correspondent Femi Akwande with you.
Pressure may be mounting on the People's Democratic Party and its national chairman, as more groups within the party are calling for his resignation. This group is accusing Senator Iyorchia. It seems pressure may be mounting on the People's Democratic Party and its national chairman, as more groups within the party are calling for his resignation. This group is accusing Senator Iyorchia Ayu of refusing to uphold a court order that disqualified Sheriff Oborevori as the party's governorship candidate in Delta State. They say the PDP will lose the governorship election in Delta if the national chairman of the party and the governor of Delta State fail to uphold the court order.
We want the judgment of the Federal High Court as delivered by Justice Taiwo to be completely honored or respected. The primaries that produced this man is not the issue. The man that was produced as a winner, as eligibility issues, he does not have qualifications to fly the flag of the party.
Inside the party's national secretariat, the leadership of the party is also meeting to deliberate on matters that have widened the crack among members of the party. It seems the biggest headache for the PDP ahead of next year's general elections will be to pacify the governor of Rivers State after a hard-fought primary election that gave Atiku Abubakar the party's presidential ticket.
We have equally set out committee of the BOT to be able to interface between warring factions, particularly between the acrimony that is taking place between the presidential candidate and Governor Wike and any other conflict that is taking place in the nation within our party formation.
But the Board of Trustees is not entirely bothered by the calls for Senator Iyorchia Ayu's resignation. It seems they have their eyes set on next year's general election and what they need to do to win majority votes.
All right, before we go into our discussion, let's quickly share this update with you. President Muhammadu Buhari receives APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his running mate Kashim Shettima at the State House in Abuja. Also, APC National Chairman announces Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong as Director General of APC Presidential Campaign Council. And the Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Festus Keyamo, is the spokesperson for the campaign. And Deputy Spokesperson is Hanatu Musab. All right. Gentlemen, let's get into our discussion. The PDP now has two factions, the Wike and the Atiku faction. And also, there are several reports that Atiku has been making efforts for reconciliation. What is happening? And some people have, well, is Wike a sole loser?
I don't think it's a faction in the real sense of the word. But there is a Wike group. There's a group that is sympathetic to him. For some of them, it's helped them in the past. They are making money available for them to contest elections. No one has funded the party in the recent past the way Wike has done. When it appeared that some people abandoned the party, Wike stood firm, made money available, was always there. And he has never had to defect. Some people are defected and come back to the party. But he has never had to defect. So he thinks that he's entitled to certain privileges as someone who makes money available, to run the party. He thinks that he should be treated specially. But most of the time, he doesn't play his politics right and he ends up on the losing side. And we have seen that Wike is a bad loser because when he loses, he makes sure that there are consequences for those who did not support him. He makes sure there are consequences for those who did not support him. And he always wants to have his way all the time. He brought the former national chairman, but he was also the person that chased him away. Even this current chairman, it was with his understanding that Ayu was brought on board. But today, they are saying, no, Ayu has to go. After all, the candidate of the party is a Northerner. Why should the deputy national chairman not be Northerner? Why should be PDP, the PDP Governors Forum chairman also be a Northerner? You will know that that has something to do with the fact that Governor Tambua betrayed him, in inverted commas, at the last minute during the convention, with Tambua telling his supporters to vote for Atiku. It was a masterstroke. It effectively stopped Wike from winning the Ramadan, and he remains bitter. Now, what they need to do is to manage him properly. I know that by tradition, once the North produces the chairman, most likely the presidential candidate will come from the South and vice versa. In fact, once Jonathan became the candidate of the party some years back, they had to organize an emergency convention where they put a Northerner, they made a Northerner to become the chairman. So if they're asking for that now, I think there's nothing wrong about that, because we've never had a situation whereby presidential candidate is from the North, chairman of the party is from the North. I think at some point, Ayu has to step aside. So they have a point on that. But managing Wike is not going to be easy. He feels that, from what I've heard him say, he feels pained by some of the remarks that Atiku made on the day he presented Okowa as his running mate. He felt he was being referred to. He felt he was being described as someone not up to it, not good enough to be. Yes, and that is why he's bitter. And he also thinks that Atiku has to make personal contact with him, sit with him, and then they can work. But as far as he's concerned, Atiku came to his house with other people, but they've not had one-to-one conversation. He thinks that he's big enough for that one-to-one conversation to take place. And the earlier Atiku realizes that, the better. Because, frankly, the Yorubas will say, Adete, Ulefunwara, Bole Dawara, no. You know, he may not be able to win an election, but he can cause you to not win an election. So that's somebody that you have to manage properly and play to his strengths. He has strengths, no doubt about it, he has strengths. You have to play to his strength, ensure that you have him on your side. By the time you have him on your side, you know that you have someone formidable. You can charge through the crowd and make sure that you get the support that you need. But it's still a tough battle, getting him to give up some of the plans that he had against Atiku. It's Atiku that can do that job.
All right, Dario.
Well, Mike almost exhausted the facts in this matter, because I'll take it from the issue of Atiku. Atiku is not helping himself in the way he's dealing with Wike. Aside what he said the day he presented Okowa, he granted an interview on national and made some remarks that even a gentler, a more gentle Wike will have been angered. How much more the Wike that we all know?
It's not gentle.
And Wike did not waste time. He first started dramatically, he would soon speak. And when he started speaking, PDP knew somebody was talking.
Yes.
If you have a character like that, he's like a bull in a china shop.
Yes.
If you don't know how to guide him out with love and tenderness, he will break all the ways. Wike is one issue that will play a pivotal role in determining how far Atiku will go in this election.
Yes.
He is one man, if he manages well. In fact, if Wike emerges as the DG of Atiku's campaign, you can imagine the way he will be charging. And he will pull his friends and his enemies along.
But looking at the conditions Wike has...
to me, those are no conditions. Let's be fair. You see, Wike is stubborn. Wike is this. But let's be fair to him. Wike is not the one making these conditions. In fairness to him. I will recall, as somebody who covered PDP to the convention, immediately IU was pronounced the chairman. One statement the governors on that table made was that should a northerner emerge as the presidential candidate of the party, IU will give way. They did not say until the person wins an election. So that's a condition that has been there.
So it's even a tradition. That's the tradition.
Wike just took us back in memory lane. I think the man from Enugu was the chairman before Jonathan became a presidential candidate. And they had the convention. He was asked to resign.
Quickly, yes.
Yes.
Overnight.
I'm trying to remember his name. And that was done. Then this promise was made because Southern governors raised the issue that this one that you're having, this national chairman from the North, does it mean that the South will produce the presidential? And they said no. But we are throwing it open. Should the Northerner emerge, IU will give way. That is a condition that has been there. Talking about the other condition of Atiku having to sign that he will spend only one time. I want to tell you again that it's not Wike that is asking him. That's a promise Atiku made himself. Okay. The days leading to the convention, newspaper publications are there. Go online, you will see it on YouTube.
All right.
He made the promise that he will do only one time.
Even given his age, let's face it, given his age, you will expect that he should just do one term and go if he wins. After all, Mandela did that. Mandela did that in South Africa.
So you understand? So if Wike is now saying sign this, I think these are things Atiku should do quickly. And
then he's also asking for appointments. That should also happen normally.
We really do not have enough time to exhaust this topic. We really need that to go. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Dari, for coming on the program today. Thank you, Vic Sites, on the program. Thank you very much. And thank you for watching. That's all on Journalist Hangouts. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11. Join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangouts on Sunday. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
TVC News first with breaking news.
We cover the big political stories in Nigeria, but people want more than just politics.
Business news, sports naturally, but you need news to live by also.
Stories about education, health, personal finance, and hey, even lifestyle news.